In this video here, we're going to go over flexing each vertebrae in the horse's neck one by one. I've got Oliver here. He's a 6-year-old gaited horse. We're not really sure what kind of gaited horse he is. He was a rescue horse. He's been under saddle for a little while. I've got him to kind of progress that saddle work along and just get him more consistent. But this is about the 7th or 8th time he's had the bridle on, and I've mostly just been letting him wear it. The past couple days I've actually been using it. So he's going to be really green, so you get to see how you can start off playing with this with a really green horse, with a horse that really doesn't know how to follow a feel yet. And what I'm looking for is, can I flex one vertebrae at a time down the horse's neck? And I want you just to kind of see, a lot of times we think the vertebrae are up here. Well, they are, the first and second one are, but then they start to come down and they're down here. And the 7th one is kind of way back, it's behind the shoulder. You can't really even get to it. The 5th one's about right here, and the 6th one here, and the 7th there. But there's a little bit of an S curve there. So the idea here is to, and he's actually, that's pretty nice, see how he's flexing, is to get him to flex 1, 2, 3, and do it without them rotating their head. Like there, he was just kind of looking over there, which was really nice. So I can kind of just see if he'll come over here by himself. There. And I'm starting off with just kind of bringing my hand up on his nose and my other hand on his jaw here. And I can kind of pull with this one and press a little bit there. And that's going to start to tip his head to the right a little bit. Yeah, but I don't want him rotating. And now I've got a little bit of that. Then can I ask for a little bit more? And with this, it's never about forcing it. You're always going to kind of wait on the horse, allow them to give it to you. And I'm going to show you a couple different techniques here. So there he's kind of coming. I'm taking my time, and that's nice. Now we're down to about the middle of his neck. So we're about here. I'm going to change sides because this is usually to get the first 2 or 3 vertebrae. You can stand on the side you're bending towards to get those. And once you've got that, then you can go to the other side. Now I'm going to reach underneath his jaw and put my hand on top, and then I'm going to kind of press. So I'm going to draw his jaw to me, and I'm going to press his top of his nose away from me. And there his head's kind of up high, so I'm just going to ask him to kind of come down. He sees the horses out in the pasture there, so he's looking. But again, I'm just going to wait on him, but I'm going to try to keep his head straight up and down without him rotating. So now he's kind of holding. You're probably not going to see it a whole lot on the video, but I can see it pretty well there. He's flexing here to here, and there's a flat spot. There's almost a dip right in here, and that's the part that he's challenged with. So I'm going to see if I can't flex and wait on him there. And every time he gives, yeah, now his neck kind of filled out right there, and now I made it down to here. So now there's a flat spot down there. And then I can rotate, and I'm waiting. And he's kind of saying, no, I don't want to. There. And he's kind of tipping his head a little bit, so I wait on him. And again, I'm not forcing it, I'm just waiting on him. Now I have to get the upper neck because he got real flat here. We were down to here, now we're back up to this part of his neck. And I'm just waiting on him to let me have that, but I'm being real soft about it. Yeah. Starting to let go. Good. And there I let it go. And that's actually quite a bit in one session there. So if you get a couple vertebrae, you can let him out of it. Just release them. Let him find that and see how he's kind of stretching, a little bit of blinking there. They a lot of times will really start yawning and releasing. And we're unlocking that neck and really getting it pliable. A lot of the old masters talk about the pole. If the pole's locked up, you're not going to have access to the hind end. So we're starting off getting the pole. He's pretty good about the pole, but it's a little bit lower in the neck. So I'll bring him back up here, kind of show you the other side. So now, usually, the area of the neck that was hard to bend, so he was hard to bend in about this area of the neck coming this way, usually will be easier to go the other way, and then he's going to be harder a little bit farther down or a little bit farther up. And we'll see if that's the case. So I'm going to, you just kind of pick to see where do you have to position yourself to really help your horse. So there I've got the upper part of his neck. Now I'm going to come over here and just kind of draw his jaw. Yeah. So he's flexing nice all the way to about here, but there's a flat spot right there. So I'm going to see if I can get him to flex that, and then that'll kind of bulge out when he gives it to me. I'm just waiting on it. I'm not forcing it. And every time he releases, I kind of release too. When he goes, oh, there it is, I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm just holding here, waiting on him to find that himself. There, he's a little bit annoyed because we are getting into, you know, it may be a kind of stiff and there may be a little bit of a pain associated with it, but that's why we're not going to force it. We're just going to wait. So I want him to think about it, to kind of identify that area and see if he can let it go. Even if I can get just a tiny bit more from him. He's kind of up. I'd like his head to come down a little bit, because he's kind of tipping his head a little bit here. That's better. There, and that was new. He actually dropped down and then kind of flexed it, so I let him have that. I just gave that to him because that was a new response other than coming up and being tight. So that's one way of doing it, is just kind of putting your hands on there. If you don't even have the bit on, you can play with that. And a lot of times this is something, if maybe you got 5 minutes to play around with your horse, or you know the weather's bad, something, you can come and just say, hey, can you give me some neck flexions? But doing it one vertebra at a time. Another way here is to, you know, I've got the bit in his mouth, and so he's not real sure with it. So I'm going to float around with him quite a bit because he is unsure, and then I'm going to try to see if I can get him to settle there. And then I'm going to draw using the bit, I'm going to kind of tip his head one direction. So I'm going to tip it away from the camera here, and then he's kind of all over. So then I go with him again. And I'm not asking for much, just a little bit. And there I kind of go with them, and I'm just bringing them back to neutral or back to this band. There. And there he kind of gave it, and so I let go. At this stage, I'm just going to say, oh, thank you. That's all I'm looking for. Is can you kind of just find yourself? Don't be flopping all over, and then give me a little bend, and I'll give that to you. And so then I'll pick up, try that again. So not bad. Just a tiny bit. There. I give that to him. I'm going to let him have that. Be like, oh, thank you. And I'm not going to go, I'm just going to try to get the first and second, maybe the third vertebrae here at this time with him. This way here. So now I'm going to try it the other direction. Pretty good. It helps because the buddies are out there in the pasture, and so you can kind of go look out there, and that's great. So that's another way of doing it. And what you're doing is you're standing in front of them, and then you're going to rotate with them. As they go, you try to stay in front of your horse's head. But then also stay far enough back, because if they go up and down with their nose, that they're not going to hit you in your face or in your nose. So that's another way of doing it, and then we can do it standing beside them. So here, this usually is once you have the others, but just depends on where your horse is at. So I'm going to bring the outside rein kind of back to the wither, and then I'm going to take the bit and draw him to you. He's looking over at the other horses, so that was really helpful. His head's a little high. Ideally, I would like him to relax down a little bit, but still keep that bend. And can I get him to settle without flopping all over? So flex, yeah. And his friends are running around, so he's kind of getting up. Good, but that's actually a nice bend right there. So I'll give it to him, even though it's the distraction that's doing it. I'm happy with that. Other than, ideally, could he soften and just drop down, but he's up because he's a little bit on alert. And then we'll turn, do the same thing the other direction. So I put a feel on the outside to keep him from twisting, and then I draw with this hand and looking for the first vertebrae. And a lot of it with him is just getting him to follow the feel, to come off of it. He's still unsure what to do with the bridle here. And so I'm just real lenient with this. If you've got a more advanced horse, you can be more particular about it. But I'm waiting for him to just to get soft and relaxed. Not bad there. He's moving his feet too. Yeah, that I like. Because he kind of settled. He wasn't flipping around so much. He settled and he had a bend there. And I'll try that one more time. So I'm just drawing on this hand, tipping him to me. If he wants to twist his head, Then I put a little feel with the outside rein here. Good. Up there, he's a little twisted. So I'm going to see if I can straighten his head with a little outside rein. I'd rather have less bend, but it to be a quality bend. Yeah, that's nice there. And what I mean by quality is his head's not going off like that, that he's keeping straight up and down and he's rotating it. And really getting, if he could stay at that height right there and then rotate around both directions. So that's the idea, starting to play with this on the ground. He's a green horse, so we're giving him lots of leeway, but it's a place to start with it. Your horse is a little more advanced, then be more particular about it. So keep that head up and down and see if you can get a nice sweeping bend, just like that there. That's actually perfect. He did it on himself. You can see the neck just wraps around. It's nice and soft. There's no flat spots in it, or there's no areas of it. So we're going to play with it now. I'm going to get on, and I'm just going to show you the same thing getting on his back. So the reasons why you want to play with getting the flexion one vertebra at a time is, for one, the suppling. It really gets the horse suppling, gets them connecting, helps to balance them, because a lot of times they can still be out of balance if they're rotating their head around. You know, I've seen horses bring their head around to your toe, but they're not flexing their whole neck. They might be hinging. And what I mean by hinging is they might be straight in one part of the neck, but they're flexing a whole bunch in another part of the neck. So you want to get them to flex each vertebrae, and that's going to help create more balance. It's also, with the young green horses here, it's teaching them to follow a feel and to stay relaxed. Because a lot of times, again, if they're rotating around in a unbalanced place, they're not being able to relax. They're not being able to kind of let go and get into your hand. So this builds into one day being able to collect them and go into all your lateral work. So as we're sitting here, can I flex one vertebrae at a time? Now he's a little bit up. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up, so if I'm going to flex them to the left, I'm going to pick up my left rein and say, hey, there you go. And that's all I'm looking for, is just for a tiny feel. If he lengthens downward, I encourage that. I want that. I don't want him quite so high. But a lot of times through the band, I'm going to get him to want to release. So I pick up, asking for him, and then if he wants to drop, I'm going to let him have it. And I'm looking for him to just flex the first, maybe the second vertebrae. Yeah, that was okay. I'll let him have that. And there, that was nice. Without me doing anything, he kind of did it. The outside rein's what keeps him from doing this, what he just did there. If he starts to do that, I'm going to put a feel on it. With the green horses, I might even lift this hand up to kind of lay it along the neck to keep him from rotating. So I pick up the feel again. Yes, that's good. Very nice. There, at the end, he kind of got a little low. He picked it back up again. But if he wouldn't have, I would have picked up my hands. But I'm being pretty lenient here because this is all so new to him. And I want to encourage him to follow the feel. So I'm saying, yes, there. Then I get soft. So every time he finds it, so I put a slight feel, and he's kind of just going around. So I'm just waiting on him to say, hey, can you find That's a little low, so then I want him to come up. Now, this isn't bad other than there. And then he finally kind of came off of it. He was searching for it, and he was kind of leaning on my hand, and then he came off, and then I gave it back to him. Now we'll try to the right. So again, I'm going to pick up, and he's being real soft here, so I don't have to do a lot. If he would kind of lean, then I might have to do a little upward vibration, but he's doing well. So I've got maybe 5 to 10 degrees. Yeah, not bad. A little bit high. A little bit of tension there. Yes, I got down to a quarter of the way down his neck. So I'll step him back up here again so you can kind of see, and we'll go back to the left. So the right, that was pretty quick, pretty easy. So then I'm going to pick up, say, can you flex to the left again? Waiting on him. Yeah. Would like for him to kind of drop his neck though. Let his neck get a little longer. So the distance between the wither and the ears cannot get longer because he's kind of contracting and up. So I'm going to flex him. Yeah. So not bad. Right there, not bad again. And so then I just keep setting him up. So as soon as he finds, I release him. I'm like, yeah, that's the answer. You may not release quite so much with your horse. If your horse is getting this, the release might just be a softening in your hand, saying, yeah, that's the answer, but I'm going to keep you here, hold you there for a bit. And as they progress and get better and better with it, you can hold them there. Hey, now that was more than I wanted. I didn't ask for it. He gave it to me. So I'm not going to get upset by that because he's trying. But over time, I'm going to start saying, no, not quite so much. Like there, he's searching. He's trying to figure out what it is I want. And I'm just saying, all I want is about a 15 to 20 degree bend. Without your head up, without your head too low. I'm just waiting on him to figure that out. So that's not bad there. I'm going to give that to him because he got quiet, he got soft in my hand, and he's still holding it. Was he rotated a little bit? Yes. But to the left, bending to the left is much harder. So we notice that even on the ground. So I just put a soft feel. So I might spend more time with less. Yeah. And then he went farther even on his own. But right here, he's giving me about a 5 degree angle, and it was pretty nice. A little bit high yet, but not bad. And over time, I'm going to want him to, I'm going to see if he can just kind of stretch out and down. I'm just putting a feel on him. Ah. There. And then he kind of comes back up. I'm going to say, lengthen that out again. Yeah. That's it. And actually right there, that's nice because he's looking out in the pasture but he's got a nice bend and he's pretty relaxed. Yeah, and that there right there was really nice. He stayed down. So if we can get that band on purpose, then we're really getting someplace. So that's the idea of flexing one vertebrae at a time. As he gets better and better, I'll be able to take the bend more and more to where I'm at a 90 degree. But I'm not in a hurry to get there. It's more about, can I get quality here, and then over time I'll get to that point. And we're getting this at the halt. Then you can go out and start playing with it at the walk, trot, and one day at the canter. So that's the whole idea, is getting that flexibility and balance with them. So go on out there, play with it. Let me know how it's working for you. Thanks for watching.